Hey friend, welcome back to Bible Tract Echoes. I'm Mike McCurry, your host. I want to take a moment and thank you so very much for listening in to today's broadcast. God is amazing, is he not? He just does incredible things for us, and one of those things is he allows us to communicate and fellowship and co-labor together through this radio broadcast. It's been on the air for decades, and all the way back since Paul Levine, our founder. We talked about him a good bit on the radio broadcast yesterday. Paul Levine, he started this broadcast in the late 1950s, and it's my privilege. I'm Micah McCurry. It's my privilege to be speaking to you today as the director of Bible Tracts Incorporated and the host of this radio program. This week on BTE, we've been talking about our core values. This is the second installment of us as we speak about these core values. The first that we talked about yesterday was legacy. Legacy. What a blessing to look back at history and to not see skeletons falling out of closets as we look back with shame on Paul Levine's time here on earth. That's not the case. We look at BTI and look back at Brother Mark Smith, who was my predecessor. 15 years he served this ministry and served God from about 2004, 2005 until the very end of 2019. And what a joy it is to know that I can still look at that man with great respect and admiration for all he did. He had such a profound impact on this ministry, and the way he so generously and kindly turned it over to me. Truly, didn't make a whole lot of sense that he would give this ministry to a young whippersnapper like myself, but here we are. And as we look at today's core value, I want to encourage you, as you listen, my hope and my prayer is that you catch a little bit of the heart of who we are, what this ministry is about. I didn't choose these core values on a whim. I've been at the helm of this ministry for over 5 years now, and in the grand scheme of things, considering Paul Levine started it in 1938 and went to be home with the Lord in 1996, he was around and the director, the founder, for a good longer while than I have been, and I'd have to live a good long while to even compete with those kinds of numbers. But I do believe God has led, I know he led in me taking the leadership of this ministry. But it sounds so self-serving to say this, but I have a heart for what BTI is doing. And I so desire it to, as we look at the past, at our legacy, that we be strong because of that as we stride into the future. And so we talked about legacy. Now I want to talk about quality. I've said it many times, even on this radio broadcast, but we believe in quality over quantity. I'm going to talk about that for just a little bit today. You know, there's a saying in the business world: the bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. I want you to think about that for just a moment. To think about the fact that we give our gospel tracts away for free. Oh, well, low price, we have that locked in, don't we? We have put out over 600 million gospel tracts for free in almost 190-something countries around the world. But let me run that by you one more time. The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. There have been numerous people that have ordered our gospel tracts because they were free. They were free. And there's a sweetness to that, right? It's the lowest price you can get. We don't even charge for the shipping. Donations are appreciated, but they're not required. So people get that sweet low price. But what if they open up that package with the return address of Bible Tracts Incorporated and the quality was poor? Well, we don't want that. I'm thankful for the fact that this ministry for a long time has persisted in holding the standard of quality high, and we've kind of, I'll say, doubled down on that. At BTI, we're not driven by numbers alone, because I believe that principle of poor quality and that bitterness of poor quality remaining long after the sweetness of low price, I believe that principle holds especially true in ministry. And because we're not driven by numbers alone, we care deeply about the quality of every product and tract we design, print, and ship worldwide. Of course, please don't misunderstand me. Quantity also matters when it comes to the gospel. After all, Jesus did command us to preach the gospel to every creature. But we believe we must never allow our desire to do more to cause us to do our work poorly. The message of the gospel, this message we share is eternal. And I believe the gospel deserves to be communicated with excellence. Now, let me be clear. We're not chasing perfection. We recognize that production matters. Perfection cannot be the enemy of production. Tracts must get printed. Shipments must go out. The gospel must go forward. But we also believe that whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. Ecclesiastes 9 verse 10. When we fail, we fix what needs fixing and move forward. Excellence is not a finish line, it's a habit. Why does all this matter? Because the world is watching. And more importantly, the Lord is watching. Each of our products is created with the goal that in all things, as 1 Peter 4:11 says, God may be glorified through Jesus Christ. That's why quality matters. You see, Fortune 500 companies do not associate their brands with poor presentation. Those titans of business, they're trying to make a buck. At BTI, we are offering the message of salvation. Which is more important? Should we, this ministry, not present our very best to God and the world? We want believers to be confident in the tools they use to share the gospel. We want pastors to place our tracts on their church tract racks confidently. We want Christians to hand them out with a smile and a sense of trust, not just in the message. Of course, that's unequivocal. That's immutable. That's perfect. The gospel is the greatest message ever told. We want them to have a sense of trust, not just in the message, but in the medium that carries the message. This is why quality is one of our core values. It's not because it's trendy or sounds good, but because we serve the Lord, and He deserves our best. I wonder if there's any bit of conviction to find in that. I wonder if there's any part of you that says, ooh, I haven't been quite as focused on quality as I should be. Colin Powell, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said something along these lines. Leaders honor their core values, but they are flexible in how they execute them. And that's going to be our core value for tomorrow. Flexibility. Flexibility. Where does that? Are we talking about yoga? Are we talking about gymnastics? No, not quite. It'll make a whole lot more sense tomorrow as we get into our third core value. I'd encourage you, please tune in for that. But before we go away, I want to share with you a few testimonies from God's people. We love hearing from you. And if you have a testimony or maybe even some pictures to share about tracts or Bible tracts, please send us an email. You can email us at info at BibleTractsInc.org. That's our website, Bible Tracts Inc., and that's BibleTractsInc.org. And I'd love to hear from you, but I'm going to share with you two different, let's see here. I'm looking at them. Oh, here we go. Jim, I think Sandy from Iowa, said this: thanks for the Easter coloring books and tracts we ordered. They are lovely, very well done, and tell the Easter story very accurately, but in a way everyone can understand and appreciate. Thanks. We love hearing from folks that use our products, and I'm so glad to hear that those Easter coloring books and those brand new tracts we put out this year were a blessing. We heard from so many people. We put out thousands of those coloring books and tens of thousands of the tracts, and what a blessing that is. Here's a Bible Tract Echoes listener from Texas said this: I just wanted to reach out to say how much your messages on Esther. This was a while back. I spoke on Esther on the radio. He said, your message on Esther have blessed my heart, especially today. You said that if we as Christians who believe in an eternal hell, if we are Christians who believe in an eternal hell, why aren't we doing more to tell everyone about it? And he said, that stung bad. As a person who happened to go to Bible college to preach the gospel, why am I not doing more? Just because I'm not a pastor or in ministry full-time does not give me an excuse. Thank you for the wake-up call. What a blessing to hear from someone who's not just listening just to listen, but listened for the conviction's sake. And I've said it many a time, the Holy Spirit is a far greater preacher than I'll ever be. And maybe I was trying to make that point. I don't know. I'd have to think back and maybe even listen back to that message on Esther I spoke about on the radio. But what a blessing to know that regardless, a profitable message was received by a listener. And so thank you for that. That being said, if something that I've said this week has convicted or maybe concerns you, maybe you have a question for me, please reach out. You can text me at 309-316-7240. That's 309-316-7240. And if you have a testimony to share, just like those two folks did, you can text me as well. I'll give you that number one more time, real slow in just a moment. But if you have a testimony, please email us, info@BibleTractsInc.org. But maybe just text me. I'd love to hear from you personally. I'd love to respond to you personally. I get a lot of texts sometimes, and so I'm not always able to respond immediately. Sometimes it can take a day or so, and I apologize for that. But I just want to give you forewarning. But if you have a need, something to pray about, I'd love to hear from you. But if you have a testimony, please reach out. Text me at 309-316-7240. Now, I already let the cat out of the bag. We're going to talk about flexibility tomorrow. One of our core values. We've hit legacy, we've hit quality, and we're going to look at flexibility tomorrow. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget about our open house on October 4th of this year. Going to have a wonderful time. You can find information about it at BibleTractsInc.org. You can also order some of our products, some of our tracts, some of those coloring books and things at BibleTractsInc.org. My prayer, as always, is that you have a great day. For His glory, we'll plan on talking to you soon. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to Bible Tract Echoes, the radio ministry of Bible Tracts Incorporated. Want to see our gospel tracts and other resources? Visit us online at BibleTractsInc.org. That's BibleTractsInc.org. Or follow us on social media to learn how you can partner with this ministry. Thanks again for listening. May the Lord richly bless you as you live for Him.